Good morning, everyone. I welcome you to Metalytics Insights Limited. Today, I want to discuss on methodology. Methodology, or you call it research methods. It comes under chapter 3 in your dissertation or your thesis or your project. Before now, we have discussed about chapter 1. We've looked at statement of the problem. We have looked at knowledge gap. We have also looked at research question, research specific objectives, research hypotheses. We've also looked at the significance of the study. All these are under your chapter 1. Now, we've also looked at chapter 2, which is the literature review. We discussed about conceptual, theoretical, and empirical, how you can go about writing your conceptual review, step-by-step approach. I've also discussed about theoretical review and also discussed about empirical review, how you can approach your empirical review step-by-step. So now we are done with the chapter 1 and chapter 2. The next one is chapter 3, which is methodology. You call it methodology or you call it research methods. That comes under your chapter 3. What is research methods? What is it talking about? It's talking about the methods that the researcher has found worthy to approach or to solve the statement of the problem and the research questions he has mentioned or he has discussed under chapter 1. You have to come up with the methods to actually achieve that because you found the problem, which is statement of the problem, and you've also discussed your knowledge gap. And from your knowledge gap, you derived your research questions. And you said under your knowledge gap, these are the areas that researchers have not covered, which you want to cover. So then how do you now want to achieve it? What method do you want to use in achieving this? That's what research methods is actually talking about. Yes, when we talk about research, we have to make two methods to approach this. It's either quantitative or qualitative. When you talk about quantitative, we are looking at you using a numerical data, quantitative data that you can subject to descriptive and inferential statistics. Then when you talk about qualitative method, it means that you are to collect non-numerical data that cannot be subjected to descriptive or inferential statistics, in which majorly you can actually analyze it using content analysis, narrative analysis, or you use the we call thematic method to actually analyze it. So these are two major ways through which you can actually approach your research methodology, research methods. Now, under the quantitative method, which you are going to use numerical data, we have steps that you have to follow. And what are these steps? The first one is that you have to identify your theoretical framework. Theoretical framework is actually looking at one theory out of the theoretical review you did under your chapter 2. You pick one theory that will provide foundation or that will underpin your study. And this theory should be able to explain the relationship between your two variables, your dependent and independent variable. The theory you are picking must be able to explain, the connection, the relationship or the links between these two variables. And then you relate it to what you want to study, because inside this theoretical framework, you can also find some variables, that you can also adopt, in your model specification, because it comes with assumptions and also comes with variables. Then after theoretical framework, you specify your model. Your 3.2 is model specification. You specify your model. Two ways. You see that you adopt or you adapt a model from the existing studies, or you limit it, you derive it from your theoretical framework. And that's why I said that under theoretical framework, you have variables, that the founder have used in testing the theory. Then from the model specification, you are going to state it functionally and linearly. So the functionally doesn't have property of econometrics. The linearly, that one you have some property of econometrics, where you use constant term, you use error term, you use coefficient and others, you can log and many other properties that you can include. Then after that, you describe your variables because variables are written in acronyms. You have to describe your variables, in order to make other people that may come across your study to be able to understand what you mean. If you say INT, what does INT mean? INT can mean anything. INT might be interest rate and it can be any other thing. So you have to describe your variables. Then the next thing is a priori expectation, your prediction, your expectation from what the result of your analysis will bring out. What are you expecting? And your expected contribution, a priori expectation is actually, you can derive the knowledge from the theoretical framework you have picked or from the consensus of the existing study about a particular research title or research topic. You understand? For example, now when we look at SMEs, small and medium scale enterprises and innovation, there's consensus on it that SMEs come with different innovation. They come with innovation, they create value and other things. So you can pick a theory based on the consensus of the existing study who have arrived and who have agreed that truly looking at this theory, it can actually brings about positive effect or impact. So you predict it, or you can predict it, or you can predict your findings, from the theory, from what the theory says. If theory says, for example, endogenous growth theory says that innovations, human development capital, government policies, initiative can bring about growth, then it means that when you're stating your expected apparent expectation, you state it in that line that you are expecting that positive relationship and or negative relationship, or you say that it's going to bring the relation is going to be significant or insignificant. And when you state it, you can also state it mathematically for easy understanding. Then you move to after the apparent expectation, you move to method of you move to your sources and method of data collection. So the variables you have stated, how do you want to collect data? So you tell us the type of data you want to collect. Is it primary or secondary? Then you state where you are sourcing the data from. After which you tell us the method of analysis, or you call it estimation method that you are using. We have different estimation method that you can use depending on the objective and depending on what you are actually trying to solve. Then after that, that's estimation method. That's where it's going to stop. That's for when you are looking at it from the quantitative method. Also, another method of quantitative is when you are using survey. When you are collecting primary data through survey, we also have the method. Under this method, we have the first one is area of the study where you are conducting the study from. You also have a population of the study, looking at the population of your target. You have sample size. You are going to calculate sample size because there is no how you will be able to generate data from all your targets, especially when there are many. When the population is infinite, definitely you have to calculate sample size. So you need to calculate sample size. We have different methods of calculating sample size. Then after calculating sample size, then how do you want to select your sample? And that's what we call sampling technique or sampling techniques. How do you want to actually select? We have probability and non-probability sampling technique, depending on the one you want to use. But for thesis and dissertation, it is better for you to use probability sampling technique because of its randomization and generalizability. Then after that, you move to research instrument. What type of research instrument are you using to collect your data? Is it questionnaire? Is it observation? Is it focus group discussion? Is it interview? You need to narrow down the research instrument that you are going to use. Then after that, you move to administration of your questionnaire. So how do you want to administer it? Number of copies to each person. So you have to do that. Then after that, there's what we call validity of the research instrument. You need to also detect the validity of your research instrument. Is the research question you have designed, are they actually answering your research questions? Because some people will design research questionnaire, and the question they will have there will not be treating their research question, so it must align. So validity of research instruments. Then there's what we call reliability of the research instrument. So this one you can achieve it when you are running your analysis using Cumberbatch Alpha or KMO, depending on the method of analysis you want to use. Then after that, method data collection, then method of analysis. So these are the steps that you have to follow uh, when you are conducting either. I've spoken about quantitative now. So in my next video, I'll be looking at qualitative research methods. Please like, share, and follow me on this page. I want people to follow me. Please follow me. Click follow button. Follow me so that I can have enough audience on my page. Thank you very much.